No, we didn't achieve what we wanted to out of this year. There's definitely some lights that are, maybe for off the field, not in terms of results in the tournament, and getting into playoffs was an objective as well. We didn't reach that. In many ways, what you have to take in silver linings is the character that's come out of it in terms of applying that to next year. Consistent theme over the last couple of months. Especially when things started to take that turn where it looked like things were going to be an uphill struggle. Everybody showed up to play. Again, we didn't quite get the results that we needed, but even in a day like tonight, a game like tonight, you see sometimes teams or players capitulate, and hasn't been the case with any of the guys in the squad. So coming into an environment even like tonight where it's a bit of a celebration for San Jose fans, Wondolowski, and, credit to him for sure. They were playing a serious game. They were playing with attitude. They were playing professionally. And our guys showed up as well, and though we tied, we felt like we had an opportunity to win. These are all parts of the character building that we're going to take into next year. There'll be, roster changes as is normal in the off season. We don't quite know what those are, what it's going to look like, but all of that is going to be informed by the year that we just had, Nathan. So we're going to use all of this information, not just pure stats, pure results, but the fact we did find success when you saw maybe some steely play out of the group. And I think that the group started to adapt into playing a little bit more of a pragmatic MLS style at times. And we were functional in it as well.
Thank you, Nathan. Let's go over to John Arnold, please.
Marco, you mentioned the intensity tonight. What kind of a response did you see from your guys after that goal from Wondolowski? I think it would have been easy to kind of say, well, season's over, et cetera. What does it say that your team pushed the end there?
No, I just finished speaking to them. That I've had a lot of proud moments working with them, just being inside and all of the coaches rallying as much as we can in training sessions. But they've been the ones really leading that charge in exactly what you just said. Our last game, when we had to pull one back, the guys pulled one back. We've kind of been in this back and forth, but they haven't quit. And I didn't really see anything except maybe a little bit of frustration. Like, we knew that play was coming. We should have done better to, shut it down early, close that cross down. We knew Wando was going to be busy. Listen, every team plans for Wando. Wando just has his own plan. But they responded. Which was great, and that's on them. Very proud again of them, just in terms of, they didn't have to come back, and I can't even say that, John. They needed to come back because they wanted to come back. There was a lot of game to play. They were going to come and fight back. So we were going for the win at the end of the day.
We got Jesus wearing the captain's armband tonight. I think that's the first time we've seen that, a young player. What went into that process, or was that your decision, or did that come from somewhere else?
It was my decision. I spoke with the coaches, but I also spoke with our captain, Matt Hedges. And Hedges has been a part of our club. He's going to go down as a club legend, and he's still our club captain. But as part of our process and things that we do, which is, developments in our DNA at FC Dallas, which also means that you have to develop leaders. So putting the armband on Jesus, who, he's earned it through his play this year, making it a bounce back year in some regard, coming off an injury earlier in the season. He's put responsibility on himself on the field. This was an opportunity to give him another push in his development for something that's going to be part of, who he is in the future. So we took the moment to do it. I thought it was successful.
Lastly, for me, Marco, I understand there's a lot of uncertainty in a lot of aspects, but in your mind, what comes next? What can fans expect even tomorrow, this week, and into the future, bigger picture?
Right. Well, the logistics of next week is we're shutting down the team. We'll have a couple of sessions, make sure that everybody's, checked with exit interviews and exit physicals, and basically leaving on good terms, physically. There'll be conversations that go in the off season with, directorship regarding loans and, other contractual issues. Guys are going straight into their national team camps. So it's going to be a little bit of a light group next week. But we do intend to do some things on the field. Further down after next week, they're basically on vacation. So what we'll be doing is creating development plans, training plans for each individual. But essentially, due to the CBA, they've got a little over 2 months, and which they need their break. But I'm sure after 10 days, they're going to go a little stir crazy.
Thank you, John. Let's jump over to Daniel, please.
Thank you very much. Hey, Marco, just to expand on, Jesus with the armband. It seemed again, his midfield play has been kind of above and beyond. He's been fantastic. I just wonder if you could talk a little bit about, the quality of his play and the flexibility that he kind of affords you in that middle three.
Yeah, even tonight we shifted him back to play alongside Brandon. Edwin has been playing great games for us over the past 3-4 weeks. But we wanted something maybe in a more attacking posture going forward, because the guys have been running their socks off, for 70 somewhat minutes. And dropping Jesus back in there, you saw him make defensive plays, recover the ball, build out. Obviously, he can make from deep. He can make in tight spaces. He can score and assist goals, from, just about anywhere on the field. Because of his willingness to do that, also is in line with putting a captain's band around him, because he's willing to adapt and because he's willing to really take a result as, his responsibility. Those are things that he's earned. I think maybe even 9 months ago, prior to Pepe, flourishing and us getting Jara in the mix, Jesus would have been another option as a 9, so, and he still can be a 9, and I'm not sure what the national team's plans are, but 9, false 9, 10, we even had him on the wings sometimes. And when we put him on the wings, really what we found out is we wanted him back in the middle. So he does have a lot of flexibility and functionality, but he's really started in the middle, which I'm happy to see. I used to see that stuff from his old man. Yeah.
Thank you, Dan. Let's jump over to Pedro, please.
Thank you. Buenas noches, Marco. ¿Cómo estás?
Muy bien, Pedro.
Marco, preguntarte, dos preguntas. La primera, ¿cómo describes lo que ha sido para ti esta etapa como entrenador del FC Dallas, y cuál crees que ha sido el reto más difícil para ti con este grupo?
Bueno, los temas más simple, un orgullo grande para estar en esta posición. La cosa que me da pena es que nos sacó los resultados por el grupo, por el club y por la hincha y los jugadores, porque ellos puso mucho trabajo y podemos decir en 2-3 partidos fue un momento clave en donde tenemos un empate o una victoria. Y bueno, al fin los resultados y los puntos podría ser que no llegamos en la guía, pero a veces te sientes mejor con un victoria más, 2 victorias más. Yo sé que este grupo puede hacerlo. Esa es mi última pena, que no sacó un victoria, 2 victorias más.
Y la segunda pregunta, 2 futbolistas que obviamente llamaron mucho la atención fue, como hablabas de ellos, Ricardo Pepi y Jesús Ferreira. Sí. ¿Cómo has visto tú la evolución de ellos y sobre todo la química entre ellos, que también siendo tan jóvenes, ahora también participan en la selección de Estados Unidos y también obviamente en el FC Dallas?
Bueno, como ellos tienen un crecimiento entre el club muy, muy especial, la cosa es que yo miro en este momento es que ellos están jugando sin miedo y con mucha calidad. y tienen ese ganas de todavía probar por el próximo nivel, Y también ellos tienen un hambre de ganar partidos. Y ellos se duelen cuando empaten. Esa es una característica muy importante por los jugadores que son el nivel más alta. Y ellos ya ellos tienen ese sentido cada día de su vida, en la práctica, etcétera. Todavía son jóvenes, todavía tienen sus sonrisas, pero son jugadores que son muy serios, muy serios. Yo aprecio mucho el tiempo que nosotros tuve juntos.
Gracias, Marco.
Gracias, Pedro.
John Arnold, do you have a follow-up that you wanted to ask?
Yeah, real quick, Marco, just forgot to ask about Brian Acosta. Noticed he wasn't on the sheet and saw that he's already in Honduras. How did that come about?
Correct. They had asked for his early entrance into the national team camp. And I think originally they had wanted him in on Wednesday, and we were still completing our training week. We needed to make sure that we were going to have all of the players necessary on the bench, and that we didn't fall into any kind of unfortunate injury or sickness before we left Dallas. Once we cleared that, we felt like it was fine for him to go and join. I pretty much had my mind made up that how we were going to go and what other options we were going to be able to use. So it wasn't impactful. And he got to get in with his national team early, which I think is important for him, and just getting his mind focused.
All right. Thank you very much, Marco. Have a great trip back.
Thank you all.
Well, Jimmy, thank you for joining us. Guys, just raise your hand and I'll go ahead and get called. I'll go ahead and call on you. Okay. All right, let's go ahead and start with John Arnold, please.
Hey, Jimmy. Just wanted to kind of see what the mood was like after the game. I mean, pretty open. You guys get a draw. You had some great saves. You know, there's the emotion of Wanda, who I saw you guys kind of paying respect to afterwards, but also kind of the culmination of a season that I know has been quite frustrating. What is the mood? What's the vibe? And how are you guys feeling after so many different emotions come together?
I mean, John, how you doing? I think, to be honest, it's kind of what you said. It's a lot of different emotions. You know, we're not happy. We're not super sad. We're not, you know, but we're a little bit of a lot of different things. But I think the biggest takeaway for us tonight was just to battle and show our character. And, you know, we talked a lot about, you know, in the past, we've seen a lot of teams in this situation just kind of walk through the game to just get through it and end up getting smacked. And, you know, we just really talked a lot about pride and individually and showing character just to, you know, push through a tough moment where, you know, there's nothing really to play for. And like you mentioned, they're excited about Wando. They're playing for him to send him off on the right notes. We had to find some internal motivation and push on. And we just wanted to, you know, do the club and do our teammates and our coaching staff, everybody proud to just show up and put up the best fight we could in a tough situation. So, I mean, I think we feel good about that. Obviously, we would like to win the game. But, you know, the way it ended, we had to defend a lot of different set pieces and we were on the back foot. But we showed a lot of character to not concede in those moments where it got really tough.
What comes now? I know it's a big question. I know there's a lot of uncertainty, but for you, as someone who's been around this team for a while, you know, it's an off season, maybe unlike any that you've experienced. What are you kind of expecting from, you know, tomorrow and then also longer term?
I mean, for me, I'm not really expecting anything. To be honest, my mind just goes to what I can do better and any notes, anything that I think the team needs to do next year. I think the biggest thing from a year like this is that we have to all learn from it and make sure we take action to not let it happen again. You know, the biggest thing is just we all have to, you know, reflect internally, individually, but also as a group, you know, and talk through things, what went wrong and just and build from there. In terms of the club, I mean, that's above me, above my pay grade of, you know, I mean, the club is going to take the time to make the best decisions and research in terms of staff, in terms of players. You know, who knows? I mean, I hope I'm back next year. You know, like I'm planning on being back, but this is a business where we didn't perform this year, and anything can happen. You know, if so, it's like that. We just have to take it one day at a time, and all just try and be better next year, and push this club back to where it needs to be.
Thank you. Let's go over to Dan, please.
Excellent. Yeah, so just to really expand on what you were talking about, you know, not necessarily knowing what next season brings. You know, you are one of the players that signed a new deal. Having been, you know, in a position throughout your career where you've been in the option year, been in the the final year, waiting on a new deal. Just wonder if you could talk a little bit about the mentality of kind of going through that and how this season has compared with signing the deal halfway through the year.
To be honest, I mean, like I mentioned, even though I've signed a new deal, I mean, the nature of sports, the nature of this league, it doesn't really guarantee anything. I mean, yeah, the contract is guaranteed, but like I said, I mean, things can happen. If you're not performing, the club's not happy with you, they can trade you. And there's an expansion draft. There's all these different mechanisms and different things. So for me, signing the new deal was obviously good for me in terms of, you know, what I'm, you know, trying to do, take care of my family and things off the field. But in terms of soccer wise and how I look into the off season and how I prepared for each next game and each next week, it wasn't like anything changed. You know, at this level, your head's on the chopping block every week. You know, you got to perform every week. And again, into the off season, I'm not going to say it's the exact same. Of course, the stress is a lot different, you know, worrying about your family and different things. If you don't have a guaranteed deal, different things are the options. But in terms of preparation, I don't see it. You know, I try not to think of it differently.
And then just a little bit, you know, more short term, fantastic performance tonight, especially a real highlight save on Cowell's back post shot. I just wonder if you could, you know, talk through kind of those especially those later stages of games where they were just peppering the box, kind of looking for Wando for that fairy tale end, and you know how the team dealt with that.
Yeah, no, that's you know, we mentioned it before. It was a chaotic ending. They had a lot of set pieces, and you know, I was, you know, happy to be able to step up and make some saves when called upon. But I mean, Matt was huge at the end, winning so many different headers on those set pieces, and Ryan and all these guys just digging in. And, you know, even Andres got back there and flicked the header out at the end. And you know, that's what I was talking about in terms of character, like. A game like this where there's not a ton of motivation and there's nothing to play for, you know, per se, the character that everybody on our team showed to dig in and put that extra effort in when guys are tired, guys are cramping, different things to just finish out the game strong was really important.
Thank you.
Thank you. Let's hop over to Nathan, please.
Thanks, Jimmy. And I concur with Daniel. There's a great performance from you all tonight. And, you know, I think we have seen some improvements from the defense after what's, you know, been an up and down season for a lot of reasons. But I'm just kind of curious how you think about these last few games. Kind of what kind of things do you and the rest of the defense and that back line kind of take from these last couple of matches to sort of carry into 2022? What kind of focus?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's kind of the last thing is kind of what you touch on with focus. I think the biggest thing I take from it is, you know, defending at this level isn't about a back four or, you know, the four and the 2 6s and the goalie. You have to defend as a team in this league. And I think a big part of that is just demand. we really just need to demand more from each other. We really started to pick that up even in training the last few weeks, and just being harder on each other, just more intensity, but just really holding each other to a higher standard. And I think that's the biggest thing when you're taking it next year, when we really had that demand set at a high level, the performance changed on the weekend. We can play some great soccer with the ball, but that tells the difference in moments like this tonight, when guys are tired and you have to put in that extra effort and push through a lot of pain mentally, physically. That's where all those training sessions really show themselves.
Okay, one more question. What would you say to fans who struggle with the ups and downs of this season? What would you say to them? And I know your situation, as you just said, who knows what it could look like next season for you. But what would you say to FC Dallas fans who want to feel really hopeful about the team and its trajectory and potential in 2022?
Yeah, first, I'd just like to say, thank you for sticking by us and staying with us through this year. We know it hasn't been easy. We haven't made it easy on fans to support us this year. And it hasn't been easy for us in the locker room. We felt every loss and we can, any frustrations and anger you guys have felt on the outside, we've, been feeling the same on the inside. And like I had mentioned, immediately now the head starts turning to what we're going to do next year, what we need to change next year, and how we're going to come in motivated and make the changes we need to, be better for y'all and get those better results next year. I mean, I'm excited about it. I think the fans should be excited too, just because we have so many great pieces that, on paper are coming back, barring any changes. And we've learned a lot of lessons this year. And then whatever the moves the club can make in terms of, new players and the different things the club's going to do from an organizational standpoint, we have a lot to build on, and we're, going to be really motivated and learn from this year. So.
Thank you. And let's go over to Pedro, please.
Thank you. Jimmy, buenas noches. Lo hablabas en inglés, pero te pregunto en español. Básicamente, ¿cómo calificas, ¿no? lo que fue esta temporada del FC Dallas y cómo te visualizas? Porque, como dices, quisieras seguir con el equipo, pues, ¿cómo te visualizas ya para el año que viene?
Sí, de este año estamos todos decepcionados. Tenemos un equipo que merecemos a meter por lo menos en los playoffs. Y había muchos partidos a la línea fina que empatamos, perdemos muchos puntos de posiciones ganando que podemos ganar y cambiar el torneo. Y desde este punto es eso, que necesitamos esto, más ánimo, más de demandar más de cada uno en el equipo. Estaba hablando de eso, de los entrenamientos, de esas cosas de aprendizaje de cada uno y que intentamos llevar al año que viene. Y hablando del año que viene, yo soy muy optimismo. Yo creo que tenemos muchas piezas muy buenas de jugadores en este sistema del club que podemos llevar de un gran año que viene, y estamos listos por esto y muy motivados por esto.
Gracias, Jimmy.
De nada.
Thank you, Jimmy. That'll wrap it up from us. Have a safe trip home.
All right. Thanks, guys. Take care.
Thank you for joining us, Jesus. We'll go ahead and open it up for questions. John Arnold, please start.
Hi, Jesus. First of all, I wanted to start by just asking what it meant to you to put on the captain's armband tonight.
Yeah, it caught me by surprise. They told me right when the game was about to start. Matt came to me and gave it to me. It was an honor. My dad here in the club wore it. So it was just a special feeling for me to, follow those footsteps and captain the team tonight.
How did you feel about tonight? It seemed like, despite the fact that neither team could make the playoffs, it seemed like there was still energy and a lot of desire to represent the club well, to represent yourselves well. The things you guys have been talking about in the build-up of the game, it felt like from the outside were achieved. How did you feel on the field during the draw?
Yeah, our focus was that we weren't going to give up. We knew that we were in a playoff run. We knew that a lot of teams in this scenario would just, have their mindset on something else. But we were a team focused, and we had something to prove. We had to prove that, we were a team that can still play. Our season wasn't that great, but we were a team that were able to, keep the ball, score, defend. And we showed it out here. We weren't going to come and have our mind on something else but the game.
Now you can turn your attention to national team camp. I haven't had the chance to chat with you since you were named to the roster. What does it mean to you to be back with the senior team? And now that the domestic season is over, you can focus on these international games. What do you hope for from the 2 games that are coming up?
Yeah, it's an honor to be called up to a World Cup qualifier. There's nothing like the other things that I've been called up, like January camp. It's a totally different thing. And it's a special feeling for me. It kind of shows that I've been having a good season and they've noticed. And yeah, I'm excited. I'm ready to get to work. Hopefully I get some minutes. And if not, I'm always there to support the team and, have everybody's back.
Thank you, John. Let's go over to Pedro, please.
Thank you, Jesús. Buenas noches. Primero preguntarte cómo calificas, ¿no?, lo que ha sido esta temporada, no solamente a nivel de grupo, pero en este caso a nivel personal para ti, que terminas con 9 goles y 8 asistencias. Perdón, 9 asistencias y 8 goles.
¿Español o en inglés?
En español.
Perfecto. Sí, es una temporada difícil para el equipo. Todos sabemos que no fue la temporada que deseamos. Sabemos que el equipo puede jugar a un alto nivel. Como lo mostramos en nuestros últimos 5 partidos. Fuimos de visitante a varios lugares que eran muy difíciles para jugar, Los Ángeles, por ejemplo, y dominamos en el primer tiempo. Siempre digo después de las entrevistas que el enfoque es la prioridad. Tenemos que mejorar un poquito más en el enfoque. Siempre vamos a los partidos, jugamos excelente 80-85 minutos y esos 5 minutos que nos cuesta, el otro equipo no hace gol o algo pasa. Entonces, eso es algo que necesitamos trabajar para la próxima temporada que viene, es estar enfocado a 90 más minutos y salir victoriosos en los partidos que jugamos muy bien.
Y por último, recibes nuevamente un llamado a la Selección Nacional de Estados Unidos. Ya lo decías en inglés, cómo te sientes, ¿no? Pero en español, si nos puedes decir la sensación de estar nuevamente, y en este caso enfrentando a México, que va a ser el primer rival de esa doble jornada el viernes, una rivalidad que obviamente conocemos muy bien.
Sí, es un honor ya ver mi nombre ahí en ese llamado. Sabemos que ese partido contra México y todos los partidos son especiales porque son tan importantes. Y ser parte del equipo que juega contra México, que sabemos que esa es una rivalidad de muchos años atrás y sabemos que va a ser una batalla, pero solo estar en ese roster me llena de emoción porque estoy haciendo las cosas bien. Sigo trabajando y enfocado.
Gracias, Jesús.
Thank you. Let's jump over to Nathan, please.
Hey, Jesus, another great active game for you tonight, and so excited to see you wear the armband as well. You really closing out the season as probably one of the hottest players in the league, and you deserve the call up to the national team. So just kind of what's your focus on how to keep that energy going as you move into national team camp and hopefully, get some major minutes with the United States men's national team?
Yeah, it's tough because we're not in playoffs. So keeping that momentum and keeping that focus will be a little bit hard. But my main goal is to go into camp and do my role, whatever that role is. Just do it the best that I can. And if it's supporting from outside or getting some minutes, I'm always going to be there to support. And I'm gonna train hard to maybe hopefully get the chance to play. And if I do, I'm gonna take advantage of it.
Thank you. And final question from Dan. Sorry, Jesus has got around. The team is all waiting on the bus.
Thanks so much. Really just following up on what Nathan said, I think Greg had mentioned in media availability that he's looking at you as a number 9 with Pepe. Obviously, his system doesn't really use much of a central attacking midfielder. Just wonder kind of the mentality of going from playing in behind Pepe to going kind of head to head now.
Yeah, Pepe has earned that position as the starting 9 of the national team. He's a teammate here that I play below him and feed him for goals. So, going to camp as a number 9, I have to change my mentality to, being able to keep the ball up top, make the runs. And, also I'm always going to support my brother. I'm going to help him out as much as I can. He obviously the starter for the national team. I'm always going to be happy for him. But when we were training, I'm going to give him a hard time. We're always going to be fighting for that position. But, it's always support for me.
All right. Thank you very much, Jesus. That'll wrap it up from us. Have a great trip back. And thank you all for joining us this year. I'm sure we'll be in touch after the season's over with some more availabilities. If you guys need anything, just let us know. Have a great night.